Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. How are y'all doing? Oh, there we go. A voice, a voice. How's everybody doing this morning? See, now it's noisy. It was so quiet. No, no doors. No doors open today. How are you all doing? Good. We're back to winter, right? I know. I was thinking about that. Last week we had this thing wide open. We had the windows open. It was beautiful. So, not so much, not so much now. But I think it's going to change over the weekend. So, we'll hold out hope for that. Yeah. All right. Well, let's start with a little bit of breathing this morning. If you want to come right up to the front edge of your chair and place your feet right underneath your knees. Let your hands rest on your lap. Notice if your shoulders are in front of your hips a little bit, excuse me, or if you're kind of sagging in your spine. See if you can sit up nice and tall and get the shoulders right over the hips. Relax the neck and the jaw. And imagine your head like a water balloon just kind of perched on the top of your shoulders. Close your eyes if that's okay. If you'd rather not close your eyes, just drop your gaze down at the floor. That just brings your attention and awareness into your own body. And check in. Notice if your mind is still somewhere else. So oftentimes our bodies arrive before our minds do. Maybe your thoughts are back with something that happened earlier today or yesterday or this week. Or maybe your mind is moving ahead to where you're going, what you're doing after this. So just noticing the thoughts, become aware of your breathing. Watch the way air is moving in and out of your body. If you can breathe in and out through your nose, that's how we'll do it. If that's not available to you, if you're having some issues with breathing, you can try breathing in through your nose and blowing out through pursed lips as if you were blowing out a candle. And see if you can lengthen your breaths. Taking a little bit longer to inhale and a little bit longer to exhale. And this may take a few breaths, purposefully lengthening each inhalation, each exhalation, because we have a set point. Our breathing gets into a pattern, and that changes throughout the day. So for some of us, we breathe a little more easily in the morning. For some, we breathe a little more easily in the afternoon. And so to break out of that set point, it's as simple as turning your attention to your breath and purposefully, consciously deepening and lengthening the breath. And let the control of your breath captivate your mind. So if you find your mind wandering, bring it back to the way that the air is moving in and out of your body. And you might notice where you feel movement as you breathe in, where you feel movement as you breathe out. Perhaps you notice where you don't feel anything breathing in and breathing out. That's just as important. I'm going to take 2 more really full deep breaths and see if you can make these the longest and deepest breaths you can possibly manage in this moment. So just 2. And when you've completed that second exhalation, go back to your natural breath, just letting air move in and out of your body without controlling it. And let your eyes gently open. Good. Great. We'll start a little movement this morning for the neck and the shoulders. Who has neck and shoulder pain or discomfort or just kind of tightness? Like everybody, right? Yeah, because this is a lot. This is like 7 to 9 pounds, and you're holding that up all the time. So let's just start by dropping the chin toward the chest. Imagine your chin going right into the notch where your collarbones are. And we're just going to hold here for a little bit. So as we hold, I want you to bring your awareness to the back of your neck. Notice if you're holding some tension there. Just see if you can release the tension in the muscles of the back of the neck. Breathing in and breathing out. Feeling the back of the neck getting longer. You might imagine your head getting a little heavier. And then slowly lifting your head up. Good. And then gently turning to the right. So turn as far to the right as you can, comfortably. If you have some pain, just kind of back off a little bit. Breathing in and breathing out. Notice if you're leaning forward a bit, see if you can stack those shoulders right above the hips. And it's like the chin is trying to get over there toward that right shoulder a bit. Breathing in, breathing out. And then we're going to turn slowly and go all the way to the left. So same thing, breathing in, breathing out. So we're just testing. This is just testing the general tension in the muscles, what we're noticing. And the chin is reaching for that left shoulder, and the left shoulder is sort of indifferent to the chin. And then coming back to center. Now we're going to take that right ear toward the right shoulder. And again, just kind of relaxing here. Breathing in, breathing out. Coming back to center. And then left ear to left shoulder. Again, just breathing in, breathing out. Shoulders are over the hips, so try not to lean forward or round your back. And then coming back up to center. Good. Let's take the hands, interlace the fingers. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, press your palms away from you. Drop your chin to your chest. With your next inhale, draw the arms all the way up. Lift your head. And as you exhale, sweep the arms out to the sides, all the way down. We're going to come right back to the front position again and interlace the opposite way. So whichever thumb was on the top is now on the bottom. Breathe in and lengthen through the spine. Breathe out, press the palms away, drop the chin to the chest. Breathing in, the arms come all the way up. Breathing out, let's bring the arms out to the sides and all the way down. Coming right back to the start, interlacing the fingers the normal way. Breathe in as you lengthen, breathe out as you press the palms away, drop the chin to the chest. Breathing in, arms come up. Breathing out, arms come out to the sides and all the way down. Interlace that non-standard way. Breathing in, lengthen. Breathing out, press the palms away, drop the chin to the chest. Breathe in, come all the way up. Breathe out to the side and all the way down. We're going to do this just 2 more times. So in the normal way, we're interlacing the fingers, breathing in as you lengthen and breathing out as you press away. Breathing in as we lift and lengthen. Breathing out, releasing arms out to the sides. And now the non-standard way. Interlace the fingers, breathe in as you lengthen. Breathe out as you drop to the chin to the chest. Breathing in, come all the way up. Breathing out to the sides and all the way down. Good. Let's roll those shoulders forward, up, back, and down a couple of times. Great. And then we're going to take the hands up to the shoulders. So with the hands up to the shoulders, as you breathe in, bring your elbows behind you. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And as you breathe out, see if you can bring your elbows forward and round through your upper back. So breathing in, we're going to open, expand the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades. Breathing out, we're going to come forward and round through the upper spine. You could even bring your chin to your chest when you come forward, if that feels okay. So we're starting to stretch a little bit more of the upper back. So we went from the neck to the shoulders. And now we're in that shoulder blade area. Good. Breathing in, breathing out. So this is just a really gentle movement for the shoulders, for that upper back. It's a tough area to actually move because you've got, not only do you have your ribs in the upper back that prevent some of that spinal movement, but you've also got your shoulder blades right there. So there's like all of this structural hardware that prevents us from getting a lot of flexion in that part of the spine, which is good because your heart and lungs are right in front of it. So you want that to be a little more stable than mobile. Great. And one more time, we're going to expand and hold and breathe, right? So as you're holding here and breathing, let's bring the elbows back a little bit more. And then we're just going to flutter the arms a little bit, right? So like little wings here. So squeezing the shoulder blades doesn't have to be a very big movement. Make sure you're breathing, not holding your breath here. Good, and then relax that a little bit. Let the shoulder tops come down away from the ears. So still holding the hands here on the shoulders. If that's okay, we're going to take the right elbow up and the left elbow down, right? So it's like you're trying to tilt a little bit here in one direction. And then see if you can tilt your whole spine, right? Breathing in, breathing out. Great, and then we're going to come up the other way. Breathing in and breathing out. So lift that left elbow, lift, lift, lift. Bring the right elbow down to the right hip. And then the other side. So left elbow goes to the left hip, right elbow goes way up toward the sky. Again, breathing in, breathing out. Try not to hold your breath as we're doing this. Good. So a little tilting from side to side. Make sure if you're tilting way over, don't let all the weight move into one sitting bone. In other words, when we're tilting to the right, don't let your left sitting bone come up off the chair. You want to have the weight even in your sitting bones because we're doing a stretch for the mid back and up through the ribs. Just one more time on each side. Great. Excellent. Okay, and then relax the arms down, kind of shake out the arms a little bit here. And let's take the right arm and we're going to circle it up and around. So whatever way feels okay, right? You can straighten your arm, you can have a little bend in it. Notice if you're going forward or backward. Doesn't really matter. So as you sweep this arm around, start to twist your spine a little bit. So as you're twisting your spine, again, I'm going to be cueing the sitting bones a lot here today. So try not to let your sitting bones slide on the chair, right? In other words, your two sitting bones are anchored, and it's your spine that's actually doing the moving, right? So it's coming from your hip all the way up and around. Breathe in, breathe out. The next time that your arm is down toward the floor, switch the direction of your circles. So try not to do that switch when the arm is up overhead, because when your arm is extended, your shoulder is in a little bit more vulnerable position, right? So you have, some people might be familiar with their rotator cuff because they've had an injury there. And so when your arm is in extension, if you switch directions too quickly or you try and lift something too heavy, that the tendons that make up your rotator cuff, they can get pinched or worse. And then you end up with a really sore shoulder, and shoulders, for those who've had a shoulder injury, that takes a long time to heal. All right, next time your arm is all the way down, we're going to hold here, and then we're going to sweep it up and to the left, and then down and to the right. And see if you can follow that by leaning a little bit and lengthening a little bit. Now, I'm going to cue your sitting bones again, right? So as we're here, when you come up and to the left, I want you to lift that right sitting bone up off the chair. And as you come down, keep the sitting bones down on the chair. So as you lift that right sitting bone up off the chair. So we're getting a little more length here. Make sure you're breathing, not holding your breath. 2 more times. Coming up. Great. Last time. Coming up and down. Good. Now let's take that arm, sweep it right across the body and over to the left. Hold on to that arm. Pull it across your body. Turn and look out over your right shoulder. And then we're going to lift and lower the chin. Again, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. So this is a yes movement for your head. And then we'll come back to center. Take that arm, sweep it around behind you. Grab hold of your hand or your wrist back there, or if you can come up into your forearm a little bit. Give the arm a gentle tug over to the left, and then drop your left ear to your left shoulder. And we're going to turn the nose down and turn the nose up. So this is a no movement. So even though your head is sort of in this little canted position, you're doing that no movement with your head. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. Okay, bring your head all the way up. We're going to release that arm, sweep it up overhead, bend your elbow, place your hand on your shoulder if you can, and then we're going to take the other hand and push that elbow up. Now, if you have the flexibility to be able to reach up overhead and grab your elbow, do that. If that makes you like a turtle, right, with your neck like completely disappeared, go back to this position. That works just as well. So breathing in, breathing out. We're just giving this arm a little bit of an assist and getting a little more of a stretch in through that area, right? So if your head is kind of over this way, see if you can bring your head up nice and tall. Good, keep breathing. And then we're going to let that all go. Great, let your arms hang down by your sides, close your eyes for a moment. Notice if your right arm is longer than your left arm. And notice the joints, the wrist, the elbow, the shoulder. Notice what that feels like. Let's take a breath in, let it out with a sigh. Open your eyes, and we're going to take that left arm, same thing. We're going to start by circling up and around. You can go forward or backward, doesn't matter which. You get to choose. Great, just keep breathing. And get your spine involved here. So nice and slow. So this is the other thing I just want to stress about the shoulder. The shoulder joint is the most mobile joint in the body. That's why we get shoulder injuries so easily, because we sometimes overextend and then we try and pick up too much weight, or we try and change direction too quickly, and that gives us a problem. So the slower you can move your shoulder, the better for your shoulder and your chest and your back. And the next time your arm is down toward the floor, this is the place where it's more safe to switch direction. We're going to switch direction here. And again, breathing in, breathing out. Nice and slow and steady with the breath. Slow, steady with the movement. Good. Notice if it's easier on this side or more difficult on this side. All right, so we often have shoulders that work a little differently. And the next time your arm is down toward the floor, we're going to pause there for a moment, and then we're going to take that arm up and to the right. And then down and to the left. And see if you can follow the arm. So as you go up to the right, lift your left sitting bone up off the chair. And then come all the way down. Right? So lifting, breathing, reaching. Great, nice. Slow and gentle is the movement, right? Slow and gentle. Good. A couple more. And one more. Good. And then we're going to take that arm, we're going to sweep it all the way across the body, take hold of that upper arm, turn and look out over your left shoulder. This time we're going to lift and lower the chin. So a little yes movement here on the left. Breathing in and breathing out. And then head comes back to center. Release that arm, sweep it around behind your back. Let's take hold of the hand, wrist, or forearm back there and pull it over gently. Now if you're twisting in your chair, sit up nice and tall and drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And we're going to do a no movement here. So again, real slow and gentle. Turning the nose up toward the ceiling and then down toward the floor. Breathing in, breathing out. Couple more. So we're isolating the movement to the neck. And then head comes back up. We're going to release that arm, sweep it forward, up overhead, bend your elbow, hand comes onto your shoulder. Take the other arm, the other hand, and push up. If you have the flexibility, you've got that available to you to grab that elbow, go ahead and do that. If it's making you turtle your neck, you're gonna bring that hand back down. And you might notice that on one side it was easier to get your arm up overhead, and on the other side maybe not so much. Again, we think we're symmetrical. We look in the mirror and we see a right arm and a left arm and a right leg and a left leg, and we think, oh, well, yeah, we're symmetrical, and we're not. We are anything but symmetrical. We have a lot of body parts that we only have one of, right? One heart, one stomach, hopefully. What is it? We got 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth, right? I'm going to let that all go. Good. Let's let the arms hang down. Notice if you close your eyes, notice if your arms are back to being the same length again. Hopefully they are. And now that we've got these nice long arms, let your eyes open. We're going to take the arms, sweep them forward, cross one on top of the other. Doesn't matter which, but you just pay attention on your body, which one is on top. And then we're going to bend the elbows, bring the arms back, and see if you can walk your fingers back there till you can grab your shoulder blades. Do you know where your shoulder blades are? Yeah. Can you get your hands around the back of them? You go in that direction, right? So we're just kind of going in that direction. Now notice, see if you can breathe into the space between your hands on the back of your body, right? So if your hands are here on your shoulders, you're going to breathe into the space right up there where your hands are. See if you can feel that expansion and contraction. Breathe deeply, because with your arms crossed like this in front of your body, you're not going to get a whole lot of movement in the front part of your torso, in your chest. So it's got to go somewhere, so let's send it to the back of the body, because that's the part of the back that is really hard to stretch, and that's the part of the back that gives us a lot of discomfort. When we're having shoulder and neck pain, it's usually somewhere from the shoulder blades up to the back of the head. Sometimes it can be all of that, and sometimes it can be particular pieces. So with your next inhale, we're going to gently release the arms, sweep them out to the sides. Take a nice deep breath in and out, really extending through the arms. Feel the chest rising and falling, because now this is all open. You don't have your arms crossed there. And now we're going to cross the other way. So remember I said you got to pay attention to which of your arms was on top. It should be the opposite now, right? If you're not sure, test it. What feels right? I think it's this way. Okay. And then bring your arms back there. Walk them around. See if you can grab those shoulder blades. Now you might notice it's a little, you can get your arms a little farther with them crossed this way, or maybe you could get them farther the other way, or maybe there's not much of a difference. And once again, see if you can breathe into the space between your hands and the back of your body there. That space between your shoulder blades. As you breathe in and out, we're just expanding that space right in that upper back. Really hard to get to, but not impossible. And this is where the mind can really help, just sort of directing that movement of the body through breath in that part of the body. Breathing in, breathing out, you guys, good job. And then we're going to release the arms. Let your hands rest on your lap. Just take a couple of breaths in and out. Feel that in your chest, in your upper back, in your shoulders. Great. Let your eyes open if they're closed, and lift your hands, and we're going to circle at the wrists. Do a little bit of work here for the hands and the wrists. We've done a lot for the shoulders and the elbows. Great. And then relax the wrists, and we're just going to extend and bend the fingers. I hear from a lot of folks that this is like one of the exercises you do a lot, the hands, right? Yeah, it makes such a difference. Like most of us, by the time we're 40, we've got some arthritis somewhere. And it's often in the places that get used more, right? So the places of overuse. For a lot of us, that's the hands. You know, we're always doing things with the hands. So the next time you have your fingers extended, just hold them there, right? Spread your fingers as wide as they can so that you get some sensation in the palms of your hands and in the backs of your hands that you're really working this hard. Relax your shoulders. So if you're trying to keep your fingers spread by bringing your shoulders up here, just relax them down. Let your breath flow easily in and out of your body. And then keeping that extension in the first 3 fingers, that's this one, and this one. We're going to take the baby finger and the thumb and bring them together, but keep that extension in those 3 fingers and then extend everything. So we're going to do that a few times, right? Breathing in, breathing out. Now you'll notice that ring finger, it's trying to go along with the baby finger, right? Yeah, it takes a lot of effort to keep that ring finger back there. Okay. Okay, extend. Next time you extend, you're going to hold here. And now keeping the first, second, and fourth fingers extended, we're going to take the ring finger and touch it to the thumb. So really keep all the fingers extended as best you can, right? A baby finger is going to, and you're going to touch and release, right? So that baby finger is going to want to go with the ring finger, and the middle finger might want to be going with the ring finger as well, right? So we have some little ligaments between the fingers, kind of vestigial ligaments from when we had more webbed kind of hands. Okay, next time you extend, let's hold there. So again, we're really extending. Actually, let's relax the hands a little bit. Yeah, we've been holding that for about 5 minutes. All right, let's extend the hands again. So we're doing some work here. So keeping the first, third, and fourth fingers really extended, we're going to take that middle finger, tap it to the thumb and back. And again, notice which fingers try to get along for the ride, right? Like, especially look at your ring fingers, right? They're like, no way is this middle finger going anywhere without me. I am going with it. Doesn't matter. Good. One more time. Good. Shake that out a little bit. All right, now for the super easy one, extend all the fingers, relax the shoulders. Fingers 2, 3, and 4, keep them really extended. We're just going to take finger 1 and tap it to the thumb. We can remember this one easily, right? Good. Don't forget, though, to keep those other fingers extended. We're doing some work here. Now, this might not seem like a lot, but we're doing some work here for the intrinsic muscles of the hand. Super important if you have hand pain. If you've got some arthritis in there, keeping these muscles strong or getting them strong is really important. Okay, let that go. Shake everything out. Let your hands rest on your lap for a minute. Close your eyes. And just notice all the sensations in your hands and fingers, your wrists, maybe even your forearms. So again, we were working the muscles in the hand. Let your eyes open. So just like the feet, we're going to switch to the feet here in a moment, but just like the feet, the hands have muscles that are intrinsic, meaning muscles that go between the fingers or between the thumb and the fingers on the palmar side of the hand, on the back part of the hand. And then we have muscles that are extrinsic, and those are muscles that come from the fingers or the palm of the hand into your forearm, right? So we're working all of those muscles. Let's get down to the feet now. So hands and feet are very similar in a lot of ways. We're going to take the right leg, extend it out, heel on the floor. And we're going to just start with the toes, squeezing and extending. So I'm doing this for those who can't see what's happening up here. If you can do this without your shoe, that's best. If you're in a shoe, just do the best you can. Doing this movement without socks is really good too, because socks tend to restrict our feet a little bit. The intrinsic muscles of your feet are the muscles that they get the least amount of strength and the least amount of movement because we put our feet in shoes all the time. And it's those intrinsic muscles that get sort of coffined in there in the shoes. So let's start to point and flex the foot. So these muscles that we're working now are the extrinsic muscles. So think of it like extrinsic muscles exit the foot, right? Intrinsic muscles are inside the foot. That's how I always remember it. And then we'll start to circle. Is anybody breathing? I forgot to mention that. This is kind of an important one too. And then reverse direction. So we got all these extrinsic foot muscles doing some work here, and then we're going to lower that heel down to the floor, and we're going to rotate the leg in and out. So rotating in and out. Good. And then we're just going to relax that foot, bend the knee, bring it in. Let's extend the left. Heel on the floor, starting with the toes, squeezing and extending toes. Good. And these, again, just like the hand, these movements might not seem like we're doing a lot, but we're doing a lot to enhance our balance, to enhance the strength in our legs, in our hips. Believe it or not, everything from the ankle up is dependent on the health of the foot. So if the foot isn't healthy, if the foot is jammed into shoes all the time and you don't have good balance in the bottom of your foot because your muscles aren't toned, that's going to affect everything all the way up. So let's start to point and flex here. Good. Notice if it's a little different on this side, so ankles can work differently, left side to right side. Breathing in, breathing out, we're going to circle around at the ankle. Listening for any noise in there. Oh, I just heard one. That's good. Thank you for that. Right on cue, just like we planned that. And then reverse direction. All right, and then heel to the floor. We're going to rotate in and out. Good. So a little ankle movement, little hip movement, a little bit of knee movement, a little less so in the knee because it's not, it's a little more of a hinge joint, but you do have some side-to-side mobility there. That's the beautiful thing about our joints. All right, and then relax that. Okay, so now we're going to have the feet a little wider than the hips, heels underneath the knees, and then we're going to lift up onto the toes, and then come down onto the heels and lift the toes on the front part of the foot up off the floor. So we're lifting the heels and then the fronts of the feet. So just kind of back and forth like this. Now if it's a little too much, you don't have to do both at the same time. You can just do one. Good. Notice if your shoulders are tightening up as you're doing this. Notice if your jaw is a little tight. See if you can relax that. Okay, next time you're up on your toes, hold here. Great. Take your right foot and slide it back. Stay up on your toes. And press down into your foot. Pressing down. Breathing in, breathing out. So we're getting a really good stretch for the bottoms of the toes. Good, and then we're going to slide that one out. Step the left foot back. Same thing, come right up on the toes. Now that front foot, you can stay up on your toes or you can come down on your heel if you want to give that foot a little bit of a break. It's mostly about what's happening in that back foot. Let's bring that back foot forward. We're going to do the same thing. Take the right foot, take it back a little farther if you can. So if it was back here, see if you can bring it way back here. Make sure that little toe is getting a good stretch too. So if you're not feeling it in the little toe, angle your heel out a little bit. Relax your shoulders, your neck, and your jaw. Breathe in and breathe out. Relax your hands too. So if you notice your hands are like clenching your thighs as you're doing this, just relax your hands. And then switch one more time. So we're going to take that left foot back. Again, explore how far back you can go to get a nice stretch there. Breathe in, breathe out. Great. Relax that. Okay, so we just stretched the muscles in the bottom of both feet. So now we're going to take the right foot and slide it back and bring the top of your foot to the floor. Right? So this is a lot harder if you've got shoes on, but see if you can do the best you can. So get the top of your foot on the floor and press more into the big toe side. Now I will say this, the floor can be a little hard. If it's a little hard on your foot, take your shoe, put your shoe under your chair and place the top of your foot. I'll show you what I mean. Place the top of your foot on your shoe. That'll give it just a little bit of support. So kind of like that. So it's like a little yoga mat for your foot under there, right? So press into the big toe side of your foot more than the little toe side of your foot. For most of us, we've got tightness right down here on the front edge of the shin, and we tend to roll to the little toe side of the foot when we're stretching because it's easier, right? And the body wants to make that adaptation. Because why do something the hard way when I can do it the easy way? Good. Breathing in, breathing out. Keep pressing down, getting a good stretch there. Excellent. Okay, and then relax that. Bring that foot forward. Same thing on the other side. So if you have your shoe under there, just kind of kick it over to the side. Take the top. So we're pressing into the top of the foot again. Pressing into the top of the foot. Whoop, where is my shoe? There it is. It's there somewhere. So pressing into the top of the foot, go to the big toe side. So getting a little more. So we want to stretch this part, right? So it's not like that. It's like that. So we're stretching that part. So these muscles can get really tight. If you're in, I could talk about heeled shoes for hours. If you're in shoes that have a heel on them, and so you're all saying, nope, I don't wear heeled shoes. Nope, I never wear heeled shoes. Your sneakers actually have a heel in them. Yeah. There's about, in most sneakers, there's at least an 8 millimeter offset between your heel and your toes. So you're still in a little bit of a heel. It's not a 2-inch heel, but it's still a little bit of a heel. Guys as well, so you're not exempt from this. Keep pressing down. That's why I like barefoot so much better. Barefoot is so much better for you because you're in that neutral, that heel neutral position. All right, and then we're going to relax that and bring that foot forward. Okay, let's kind of circle one ankle and then the other. Just kind of get some movement back in there. I hear a little more noise. Isn't that interesting, right? After stretching. Okay. All right, so now that we've got the ankles kind of warmed up and the feet kind of warmed up, bring your feet a comfortable distance apart, heels underneath your knees, and then I want you to think about your feet like 4 tires on a car. So your right foot's like 4 tires. So here are the front tires, and here are the back tires, right? Same thing on the left. So press down. Imagine if your feet are like cars, you want the wear to be even in all 4 tires, right? So you don't want to be pressing more on the outside edge or on the inside edge. You want to be pressing down equally. So when you press down, if you've got your hands here on your thighs, when you press into your feet, you should feel a little bit of engagement of your thigh muscles. They're not like getting super tight, but you should feel a little engagement. If you're not sure, just relax everything. Relax your feet, relax your legs, and then see if you can press down into those 4 tires and notice if you feel a little engagement there. If you do, you got it right. If you don't quite feel it, just try that a couple more times and see if you can just get that sense that your leg muscles are active. And also notice as you're doing this, as you're kind of getting that sense of your muscles active and that sense in your feet, that your breathing has gotten very shallow. There we go. Okay, so you got the 4 tires on the ground, right? Keep all 4 tires on the ground and lift all your toes up off the floor. And then lower them down. So get those 4 tires, let's kind of get that set again, right? So 4 tires are on the floor, and then just lift all your toes. If your front tires are coming up, if you're popping a wheelie on your feet, on your heels, see if you can keep them all down. Let's try that one more time, right? We got that? And notice how shallow your breathing has gotten. It's like you're kind of listening. You got to quiet that breathing down so you can listen and hear what the heck's going on down there. Okay, relax all of that. Relax your tires. Relax your toes. All right. Take a breath in and out. Press down into your tires. So lift just your big toes. Keep your tires down though. And then lower your big toes. And lift just your big toes. And lower your big toes. Couple more times. Lift just your big toes. Not the little ones. Not your tires. I see some wheelies out there. Okay. Relax everything. Notice your shoulders. We're trying to lift the toes. All right, let's go back to those 4 tires again. Press down. Okay, so you got all 4 on the floor. We're going to keep that big toe on the floor. Lift all the little toes. And then lower down. So lift all the little toes, not the big toe. Yeah, you look down. I do see some of you looking down. If it's easier to look down at your feet and do that, go ahead. Sometimes it's the disconnect between the brain is not sure how to get the toes up off the floor. Like, what am I supposed to do? So looking down can actually help as you're looking at your toes. So we're just lifting and lowering all those little toes. Keeping all the tires on the floor. So I see some tires. I see some people leaning into the inside, right? So if your knees are coming together, that means you're lifting off those outer tires, right? Breathe in, breathe out. There's 1,000 ways to cheat, and I know them all. And then relax everything. Whew. All right. So come up on your toes and then up on your heels. So we're just working the bottoms of the feet a little bit more. All right. Coming back to the bottoms of the feet. Let's get those 4 tires on the ground. So all 4 tires on the ground. Lift all your toes. So we got the 4 tires on the ground. We got all the toes lifted. And now as you hold all your toes up, we're going to place just the big toes down and then lift them up. So we're pressing the big toes down and then lifting the big toes up. All the little toes stay lifted. If your knees are doing this, you're coming up onto the outer edges of those tires. Good. So it's just those big toes. Have a look down. Make sure all the little toes are still lifted. If you can't keep your little toes lifted, the intrinsic muscles of your feet are too tight. This is a way to loosen those muscles. This helps with balance. This helps with mobility. Your foot health is connected to the health of the rest of your body. One more time. Good, and then lower everything down, relax everything there. Take a breath. Because I know this is not physically challenging like moving your arms and moving your legs, but this is challenging in a different way. And this is functional. So this is what I like about these kinds of exercises. These are functional. When we think about the feet, you've got like a quarter of all the bones in your body are in your feet. That's amazing. Why would they design something so complex if we just needed to shove them into shoes and have the shoes do all the work? So the feet are designed to be able to do all this great work. So let's come back to the 4 tires. Press down. See if you can feel your muscles here in your legs engaging a little bit. Lift all your toes, keeping your tires down. Okay, now keep your big toes lifted and place all the little toes down and then lift. So we're going to lower and lift just the little toes, not the big toe. And again, you can look down if that's helpful. So we're lifting and lowering all the little toes. Big toes stay lifted though. And you might notice that it's a little challenging to do this because we just placed the big toes down and kept the little toes lifted. So it takes a few times for the brain to figure out what the heck we're doing here. Okay, one more time. Good. And then relax all of that. Whew. All right, come up and down on the balls and heels of the feet. How are we doing out there? Getting a good foot workout this morning. Yeah, Mary?
I have a question.
Yeah.
On some of those, if you perceive that nothing is happening, but you're really trying anyway, is that progress and is it apt to improve?
Absolutely. Yes, on both those counts. So it's progress because your perception of movement in an area where you haven't had any movement in that body part, your ability to sense that there's movement there is the first part of making that improvement. And it does take some time. Again, if you think about how long you've worn shoes, have you worn shoes your whole life? It takes a long time for this mobility to happen, but it does. It absolutely does. So keep at it. All right. So 4 tires on the floor. All right. And now spread your toes out a little bit here. Let's see if we can lift all the toes. And now starting with the big toes, we're going to place 1 toe at a time on the floor. Right? So we're learning how to play the piano. You guys are laughing. You think this isn't possible, right? All right. Let's try tuning this piano a little bit. So lifting all your toes, starting with the big toes, then the second toe, then the third toe, then the 4th toe, then the 5th toe. And notice if your hands are trying to help, right? Yeah? Did you notice that? Relax your feet a little bit. Let's try that again. So lift all your toes up. This is a hard one. This is probably one of the hardest movements to do with your foot because it requires a level of dexterity in the intrinsic muscles. When I say intrinsic muscles, I mean the muscles that go between the toes. We don't think about muscles between the toes, but we have them. These are some of the toughest muscles to get to wake up if they've been in shoes your whole life. But we can do it. We can play chopsticks if nothing else works. Okay, so lifting your toes, try 1 at a time. And maybe just try 1 foot at a time, right? if it seems like doing 2 feet is like there's smoke coming out of your ears, just try 1 foot at a time and then placing them all down. And then go to the other side and do the same thing. And notice your little hands are probably, trying to yell some encouragement down there. It's this one. It's this one. And notice your breath, right? So if you've done once on each side, let's go and do one more time on each side. So lifting. And if you're able to do both at the same time, then you get to do it twice all the way through. Haha. So there's no extra credit for that, but just know that you're an overachiever. And if you're on your second side, ooh, this is a tough one. I'm still working on this one, you guys. Whew. All right, relax all of that. Come up on your toes and your heels. Wow. All right, and then just for fun, we'll do a non-dynamic one. So lifting all your toes, place your big toes down, and then just your baby toes and none of the middle toes. Right? The poor toes, right? The poor toes. They go all together. Yeah, yeah. They're a match set, right? All right, let's relax that. Let's just kind of stamp the feet a little bit here. All right. So coming back to a seated position right up at the front edge of your chair with your feet underneath your knees. Sit up nice and tall, shoulders over your hips. I just want you to close your eyes for a moment and check in with your feet. So check in with the heels. Are they on the floor? Check in with the balls of your feet. So these are the 4 tires, right? The front tires and the back tires. And then the bottoms of the toes. See if you can feel the bottoms of your toes. And see if it just feels like part of the bottom of your foot, if it's like this indistinct kind of location, or can you really feel the bottom of that big toe where it's touching the floor? Can you really feel the bottom of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th toes where they're touching the floor? So again, this is just getting that sense of sensation, right, in the feet, especially if it's in an area that we haven't had a whole lot of sensation. Let's take a breath in, let it out with a sigh. And let your eyes open. Good. We're going to bring the hands to the chair right alongside the hips. We're going to move up a little from the feet now that we've had all this fun with feet. We're going to work on the knees a little bit. That's another area where we could use a little more motion. So just extending and bending the knee. Good. And listening for any noise in there. Sometimes we get some noise in the knees. Generally, noise without pain is an okay thing. So generally speaking, right? Certain body parts tend to creak more than others. Slow and steady. Great. And then we're going to put that foot right back down on the floor. Go to the other side. So bending and extending. Again, noticing if you've got some noise in there. If your back is starting to do this, press into your hands a little bit. You can use your belly muscles. That will help to hold the leg up. Good. And then we're going to bring that foot back down to the floor. Good. So now we're going to switch sides. We're going to kind of alternate. So extending and bending the right leg and then placing it down. Extending and bending the left leg and placing it down. Right? And try not to move your torso when you're doing this. So notice if you're kind of leaning back, if you're leaning to the side. If you're going really fast, you're going into momentum. So go slowly. Right? Good. One more time on each side. Good. All right, and then from here, again, just having the hands alongside the body, we're going to keep the knees bent, but we're going to work a little bit more of the hips. So lift your right knee toward your chin and lower down. And breathe as you lift the left knee toward the chin and lower down. Now notice if you're trying to get your chin to your knee by bending your back, see if you can keep your back up, keep your belly nice and strong. Great. Excellent. Just 2 more. So 1 on each side. Good. Breathe in, breathe out. Excellent. Okay, relax all that. Kind of shake out your arms. How are we doing? So were you able to breathe smoothly while we were doing that, or was it a little bit of a challenge? A little bit of a challenge, yeah. And was it a challenge from the effort or was it a challenge from trying to coordinate the movement? It's the coordinating the movement. Okay. All right. Well, let's challenge the brain and the body a little bit more. So we're going to lift the right leg and the left leg just like we were doing, and we're going to add the arms, okay? So bring your hands to your shoulders. Good. So we're keeping the shoulders over the hips. In other words, you don't want to round forward. We're keeping the shoulders over the hips. We're going to lift the right leg and then take the left hand and tap the right knee, right? While we're breathing. And chewing gum is optional. Okay. So we're just going to lift the knee and tap, right? Yeah. Breathe in, breathe out. And see if you can go a little bit quicker. But don't compromise your position. So it's not this, right? I'm not doing this. I'm doing this. So I can go really quickly if I lose the structure in my spine. Good. You guys are doing great. Okay, one more time. Good. All right. Ready to make it a little more challenging? No. Okay. If the answer is no, then we're going to keep doing hands to knee, right? If you want a little more challenge, instead of tapping your knee with your hand, you're going to tap your foot with your hand. If you're going to tap your foot with your hand, you might want to bring your feet a little bit wider, right? So remember, it's not with your back, it's with your hands. So we're going to lift and tap, right? Lift and tap. If that's too much, go back to the knee. Good. Breathe. Good. Good. Don't forget to come back to that starting position, right? Okay. 2 more times on each side, right? Are you breathing? Okay, that's like 6, right? Okay. And relax. Whew, close your eyes. Let your hands rest on your lap. Take a breath in and out. Notice your arms and shoulders, your hips and legs, and more importantly, notice what's happening in your mind right now. As you're inhaling and exhaling, let your body relax. So sometimes when we're creating movement, especially new movement, different movement that, we don't typically do that kind of movement, there's a tension that we start to build up in the body, and it takes a couple of breaths to just kind of let that tension go. Take a nice deep breath in, and we're going to let it out with a sigh. Let your eyes open. Okay, we're going to roll the shoulders a couple of times. Bring your feet a little wider than your hips. Relaxing the shoulders. We're going to do a little bit of work now for the whole spine. So we've worked the spine in a lot of different segments, and now we're going to bring everything together in 2 movements, flexion and extension. And most of you have been coming here for a while. You know what that is. So flexion is when we bend forward, and extension is when we kind of bend backwards. And this is about the whole spine, not about your neck. So this is flexion and extension at the neck without getting the rest of the back involved. And this is flexion and extension of the spine, the whole spine. And I'm going to minimize the neck because the neck gets a whole lot of movement, right? So we're rounding through the spine. As you come forward, if you got your hands on your lap, bring your elbows out to the side and make like a big bat wings back there, right? So it's like you're trying to lift and make big bat wings back there. And as you come back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And you can bend as far forward as is comfortable. Again, if you have your hands on your thighs, you can press into your hands a little bit. This helps to support your back. Breathing in, breathing out. As long as you've got that movement happening and you're not holding your breath, you're doing great. One more time. Good, and we're going to finish with some extension here. So squeezing those shoulder blades together, sitting up nice and tall. Relax your neck and your head. So all the movement is happening from the part of your spine where your shoulders are all the way down to your, actually down to your sacrum, down to right above your tailbone. And then relax all of that. Good. Bring your feet to a comfortable position and then bring yourself to a comfortable position. And when you get to that comfortable spot, you can close your eyes. So for some people, you might want to sit like back into your chair. For other people, you might want to stay on the front of the hill or on the top of the hill. So for us shorter people, sitting behind on the back of the side of the hill can be a little uncomfortable. So let your hands rest on your lap. Close your eyes. And bring all of your attention to the place where your feet are in contact with the floor. And they may be on the floor without socks, they may be with socks, they may be in shoes, doesn't matter. But wherever your feet are making contact with the surface below your feet, notice what that surface feels like. Notice if it's soft or hard, if it's warm or cool. And notice if you can feel all parts of the bottoms of your feet or just certain parts. Can you feel where your heels are in contact with the surface below your feet? And the outer edges, the balls of your feet? Can you get a sense of the 4 tires on the ground? And the underside of your toes, the bottom part of your toes, from that little toe all the way to the big toe. And if you're not in shoes, if you're in socks or bare feet, do you have a sense of lift in the area of your arches? If you're in shoes, you may have a shoe that is actually supporting your arch, so you won't get that sense of lift necessarily. And know that your arches are not so much a structure as they are a process. Because your arches are created by the muscles in your feet. The intrinsic muscles in your feet and the extrinsic muscles in your feet help to create the arches dynamically. The more you move, the more you strengthen the muscles in your feet, the stronger your arches become. We've built shoes with tremendous arch support built into the shoe, and what that has done is robbed us of our ability to create our own strong arches. Going barefoot or in stocking feet, even if you're not walking, even if you're just sitting and doing some of these foot exercises, is the first step to creating independence in your toes, strength in the intrinsic and extrinsic muscles of your feet, mobility and flexibility in all the joints in your feet. Breathing in and breathing out. Noticing your feet. Without healthy feet, the rest of your body has a much harder time maintaining its health because it has to compensate for any lack of mobility or strength in your feet. Your knees, your hips, even your low back, all have to make compensation if your feet are not healthy, strong, and flexible. As you inhale and exhale, imagine sending breath right down into your feet. And while your lungs aren't exactly in your feet, so you don't get air into your feet in that way, when you breathe in and out, you're exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide through your blood system, through your circulatory system. And better breathing brings more oxygen into your cardiovascular system, and that gets transferred all the way down to your feet. Your veins and arteries deliver and exchange oxygen to all parts of your body. Any part of your body that has living tissue, and that's every part of your body, requires that oxygen exchange. Take your hands up to your chest. Place your right hand on your chest and your left hand over the top of it. Take a deep breath into this place and let it out with a sigh. And let's take a moment, maybe bring the hands together for a moment. Let's just take a moment in gratitude to our feet, just being thankful for our feet, for their ability to move us around the planet, for warm socks, for cool grass, all the things we get to experience with our feet. And then you can open your eyes and just maybe say hello to all these wonderful faces in the room and at home. Great. All right, get your feet out there today. I'll see you all next week.